There were some big developments on the national security beat last week, including the Pentagon's admission of a tragic, deadly mistake by U.S. military commanders last month as Americans were pulling out of Afghanistan. For more, we turn to CBS senior national security correspondent David Martin. David, it's good to have you here. You heard Senator Sanders say how badly this reflects on the country in the eyes of the rest of the world. But policy-wise, doesn't this show also a flaw with the president's over-the-horizon strategy reliant on strikes like this?
Well, this is the heart of the matter. What happens in Afghanistan matters here in the U.S. only if al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups there are able to make a comeback. The U.S. says it's going to prevent that with surveillance conducted from outside the country, drones flying from outside the country, what they call over the horizon, and that they will be able to detect a plot in the works and then be able to disrupt it with a drone strike. But you have to say this mistake made in Kabul is not an encouraging precedent. They had 6 drones over Kabul that day, 6. So now everybody's gone. They have to operate these drones from outside the country. Are they really going to be able to sustain that many drones over?
6 drones, and yet an aid worker is who they killed, who had no ties to ISIS.
It was just a horrendous mistake, and nobody claims it was anything but that. It happened in the context of a terrorist attack just a few days before, communications intercepts telling them there was going to be another terrorist attack and that it was going to involve a white Toyota Corolla. And this aid worker just happened to be driving a white Toyota Corolla. And as he drove around Kabul, just going about his business, at the same time, the drone operators are hearing these intercepts talking about a white Corolla. And so each one of his entirely innocent stops becomes suspicious to them, especially when they see him loading containers into his trunk. They thought they were explosives when they ordered the strike, and after the investigation was done, of course, those containers held water, which he was bringing home to his family because his home was without running water. I mean, it was just the final debacle of the Afghan war.
Well, and just this week, the deputy CIA director told our Olivia Ghazi's that they're already tracking al-Qaeda members moving back to Afghanistan. So it raises the stakes on getting things right when it comes to protecting the homeland. In this new book, Peril, that just came out, there's extensive reporting about the decisions on both presidents regarding Afghanistan. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the chief military advisor to the president, said, don't do it this way. And the Secretary of Defense, General Austin, said the same thing to President Biden, and he dismissed it.
He didn't dismiss it. He listened. They all give him credit for listening. But he just wasn't buying it. He just did not believe that it was worth the candle to remain in Afghanistan. Remember, Lloyd Austin had seen this movie before because he was the commander in Iraq during the Obama administration, when the Obama administration pulled all its combat troops out of Iraq, which gave rise to ISIS. And then he was the commander of the U.S. Central Command when ISIS came storming out of Syria, and we had to basically fight the war of Iraq all over.
Right.
So not only had he seen this movie before, he'd played a role in it, and he had a great sense of foreboding.
And that is why that reporting is so important. David, thank you for your analysis and your time today.